Less than a year into President Biden's first term, Democrats are already discussing replacements should he decide against seeking a second term. Though VP Kamala Harris may seem a logical successor to Biden, The Telegraph reports that Democrats are so afraid of her sinking poll numbers, some are considering going, quote, nuclear in a wild move that involves nominating Harris to the Supreme Court. This face-saving and unprecedented plan would then see President Biden invoke Section 2 of the 25th Amendment to replace her with presumably a more popular VP and have that person run in 2024. So, I mean, first the caveat, this is, a British tabloid writing about Washington, D.C. And so, who their sources are that are whispering about this idea aren't necessarily people who are actually in power to affect it. That said, it's fun to think about.
Hold on. But the first thing that would have to happen if she's going to be moved to the Supreme Court in this whole theory is who's going to go from the Supreme Court. So they'd have to ensure that there's an opening there.
Right. They have to wait for an opening. They have to. But there's a very interesting wrinkle with this plan, which is that both the Supreme Court nominee, or her, Kamala Harris, if she was selected for the Supreme Court, and also Biden's new vice president, both of those people have to be confirmed by the Senate. And our Senate is currently exactly deadlocked, with Kamala Harris being the person who breaks the ties. She cannot, this is an open legal question I was seeing there was some discussion of this, the Volokh Conspiracy is a legal blog at Reason.com, where I write for as well. And they were saying, well, they don't think, so Kamala Harris can't cast a tie-breaking vote on a vote where she's no longer, she's no longer the vice president if they're voting on her replacement, or if they're voting on her for the Supreme Court, unless there's some technical, she hasn't really stepped down, but you would have to think she's stepped down. We're only having this vote because she's no longer the vice president, so thus she can't participate in the vote to break. Do you see what I'm saying?
Right,
it's very interesting.
Could Nancy Pelosi then, would Nancy Pelosi then, I mean, who, I don't know the line of succession for the vice president, but is it the same as it is for the president? So wouldn't it be,
No,
that's
they
really
appoint a successor. So if Kamala Harris
But in the interim, so like if the VP dies, right, somebody's got to be, somebody
Pelosi,
steps in.
The speaker then becomes number two in line.
Right. So then,
but she doesn't become the vice president, I don't think.
No, but she would maybe be the tie-breaking vote in the Senate. Possibly.
Nope.
No, there would be none. Now, I think you could plausibly argue that Harris could legally break a tie to name herself to the Supreme Court, right? Because she's still vice president.
Until she joins the Supreme Court.
Until the second that she gavels herself as a Supreme Court justice, at which point,
I agree with that.
Now she's no longer vice president. But so then the question becomes, do Republicans, I actually think Mitt Romney, Lisa Murkowski, I don't think you get 50 Republicans who say, no, Biden can't have a vice president.
Right.
Well, wait a minute. Is there anywhere really in the Constitution that says that you cannot be both a Supreme Court justice and the VP at the same time?
Separation of powers.
Yeah, I think
implicitly.
So there should be, yeah. So she couldn't be for just like a moment.
You used to have Supreme Court justices run for president back in the 19th century.
Right, that's why I'm... Right,
Charles
Evans
Hughes. He was the Republican candidate against Wilson the second time in 19...
Yeah, it was the last time that happened.
14, 16, one of those. Yeah. 1916, yeah. So anyway, it's a far-flung scenario that's not going to happen, but it's fun to speculate about as we've been doing here.
You know what, Robbie? Don't discount anything. You never know what can happen these days.
That's true.
There's also this commitment in Washington that elites must have happy endings to their careers.
Yeah.
You can't just fail and be fired. If you're a member of the elite and you fail, you must be rewarded with something else. You don't get a single delegate in running for president, well, you better be VP. Your approval rating falls down into the teens and 20s as VP, well, better go on to the Supreme Court. It doesn't even occur to elites to say, you know what, you didn't do a good job and you're fired.
Right. right?
Yeah. Right. Well, joining Harris as the top contender for the 2024 ticket is Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg. While most reporting has pitted the two as rivals for the presidency, analyst Lincoln Mitchell has one question: why can't Dems have both? In a new op-ed for CNN, Mitchell writes, quote, "A Harris-Buttigieg ticket would showcase two dynamic politicians and represent the breadth and diversity of the Democratic Party and indeed the whole country, while not veering too far left and alienating key swing voters who Biden won in 2020. He goes on to say that Harris-Buttigieg could turn out to be a dream ticket for the Democrats while simultaneously avoiding a potentially damaging dynamic both within the administration and in a possible Democratic primary." Who did I hear just laugh at
I was laughing. I was wondering if this was ghostwritten by Robby Mook, the other Robby, my least favorite person who shares my name. No, right. This sounds like some bad advice. Well, it has the problem of Biden is going to run, so you can't just get rid of him, and nor should you, because he's more popular than Kamala Harris, at least. I don't know if he's more popular than Buttigieg. He probably is. So this is not quite going to work.
Yeah, it's like the apotheosis of the Democratic evolution into a party of people who have master's degrees and doctorates. Like that would and not having any sense that they need to expand their base beyond that, and saying, like, hey, everybody I know likes both these. This is a dream ticket. I don't know how they wound up with 100 electoral votes.
Yeah, I don't think either of them are very popular. So I don't know if that's a dream ticket, except a dream ticket to
put them both on the Supreme Court.
Yeah. There we go. That's what would happen, right? Well, we're going to expand it anyway.
Yeah, expand the court. I'd be for that. Expand the court and put them both on there.
Oh, my gosh.
Especially Pete. He's like 20.
He would rule for Supreme Court for life. Yeah, I mean, that is the strategy, to find younger people. Democrats aren't the only ones, however, lining up their 2024 ballots. According to Politico, former President Donald Trump is considering several prominent Republicans to join his ticket, assuming he runs, including Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, South Carolina Senator Tim Scott, Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds, Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. Obviously, Trump has to decide to run, and then would decide who would be his running mate. Not Mike Pence. Mike Pence gets no love, obviously. But I think, I don't know that DeSantis really, DeSantis is the one person who's like, why would he want to play second fiddle to Donald Trump? If Trump runs, I don't know that DeSantis is going to go up against him, because I don't really think anyone can successfully do that. But DeSantis probably would just want to wait then and run in whatever the next election is.
Yeah, I would say it would be bad for him to maybe attach himself too closely to Trump like that.
I think he'd have a shot. Kim, what do you think? I think DeSantis might actually have a shot. Might be the only Republican who could potentially beat Trump in a primary, because he would win a portion of Trump supporters, and then he'd win all of the people who kind of like Trump generally and what he represents, but don't like Trump personally and worry about him and his electability. He's lost now twice in the popular vote. He eked it out one of those elections and lost narrowly in the Electoral College in the second one.
I do think that Ron DeSantis would have a very good chance at defeating Trump in a primary, because I agree with you. I think that there's a lot of people who are just very, very Trump, so they're only going to vote for Trump. But a lot of people, they like maybe what Trump represents in a lot of ways of kind of blowing up the establishment, but they really don't like him. And then there's, of course, the never Trump Republicans who would vote for Ron DeSantis because but they'll come back to the Republican Party. The problem with that, and I think Ron DeSantis knows this, the Republican Party knows this, is that if Ron DeSantis takes on Donald Trump and defeats Donald Trump, then the Republican Party is not as likely to win in the general election in 2024, because a lot of Republicans would be just completely disaffected. They would just say, okay, wow, forget that. This guy was against Trump. He's the enemy now.
And he'd say it was stolen,
Ron
right?
DeSantis, yeah, he would. And there could be that. And Ron DeSantis would need to maintain that base. He needs to maintain that Trump base, as well as get all the others who I think he can get in order to really win in a primary, in a general election. And I think he would absolutely win in a general election. I think Donald Trump really should just step aside and let Ron DeSantis have at it. But it would be better for everybody.
But is Trump capable of that? Is Trump capable of letting someone else have the spotlight and win? And that's what will That's what we'll have to see.
If he stepped aside, he wouldn't do it for anybody else. It would be a coincidence that it might benefit the Republican Party.
Right.
That would never be the motivating factor.
No, he doesn't care about the Republican Party. He wants to make the Republican Party suffer and be punished. That's his goal.
The thing about Trump is he's going to ride this out. He's going to make us think he's going to run all the way up until the very last moment. He's going to keep us guessing the entire time because that's how he does television.
Yes.
And he was very good at that. So he's going to just drag this out. And there's a real possibility he makes us believe this the entire time. And then finally gets to the end. He says, no, I'm not really running. I love Ron DeSantis. Everybody vote for this guy.
And that itself is bad for the Rogan Party because he should be, if he doesn't want to run, he should be as clear. I mean, from the standpoint of what's good for the Republican Party, he should be clear from the get-go so that then other candidates who are not going to even consider it if he's in the race are going to think about it. Keeping everybody on the edge of their seats, very good for television. Absolutely, but is not good for the party. But he doesn't care about the party at all.
I think it's actually good for the party if he does it.
So.
Yeah, because I think it brings the media attention, and so it's like, okay, all these other hats have been thrown into the ring, and Donald Trump hasn't yet, and so the people are going to have to jump in. Rather than stand back and say, well, is Trump going to, if he runs and I'm not going to run against him. So I think it would bring more attention to all of those candidates, more so than they would get otherwise.
The best thing for the party is for Trump to say, I'm not running, but these people will have my full support or whatever. That would be the best case scenario for the GOP to retake the White House in 2024. But
it's not drama television, Robbie. We need drama television.
We need less drama in our lives, I think. But our news media does not want to deliver less drama ever. But we will have more Rising right after this.